Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the October 17th, 2023 BOCC meeting. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first thing we have on our agenda are our minutes from last week. Gentlemen, do you have any additions or corrections?
No. I move to approve the proceedings of Board of County Commissioners for Montezuma County for Tuesday, October 10th, 2023 as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of Commissioners, Montezuma County, October 10th, 2023. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next up we have planning. And we have a public hearing, and I see Mr. O'Brien in the back. Would you come on? Okay. With that, Kim, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Candelaria,
Here?
Commissioner Lindsay,
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver,
Here.
Administrator Anderson,
Here.
Attorney McLaren,
Here.
and Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed subdivision amendment application for a proposed commercial rezoning and commercial planned unit development to lot number 31 of the Blue Door Subdivision submitted by Kenneth Hinton, agent Richard O'Brien, on property located at 7351 Road 24.3, Cortez, Colorado, located south of Road G.3, east of Highway 160-491, situated in Section 3, Township 35 North, Range 16 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com, public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated this 18th day of September, 2023, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado, published in the Journal on Wednesday, September 20th, 2023.
All right, thank you, Kim. Okay, Don, would you like to give us an overview? I think we've seen this before.
Right, yeah. So Rick is applying for Lot 31 to be amended in the Blue Door Subdivision to have it rezoned to commercial and have it split in half and create a two-lot commercial PUD. Right there, the purple middle single-wide trailer, that has since been removed. It was owned by somebody else. They just had it on the property, so that's been removed. I think we told you before that Kenny Hinton's trying to sell the lot, and Rick is looking to purchase the east half, where he's had his shop for 30-some years. The PUD setback limits would be 15 feet on that center interior line and 20 feet on the exterior property lines. But like I say, that mobile home there is gone. On the shed there is overhang shed shop. That's part of the reason for the setback requirement on that center interior property line. There's a possibility that can be removed if that poses a big issue to the commissioners. But Rick can kind of explain that a little more to you. Access on what would be the west lot would come off of G3 and has its own driveway. Access for his shop would be off of 24.3.
Okay, questions, Commissioners?
No.
Mr. O'Brien, would you like to add anything? No? Okay.
I have one question before we get going. Mr. O'Brien, what are you using the shop for? And the reason I ask is because, commercial zoning allows for a variety of things, but then a commercial PUD can allow for certain conditional uses too. And so, auto repair is certainly something that's covered under, commercial zoning. If you're doing, other sort of more heavy equipment type repair, we can put that in the commercial PUD. That's why I ask. I don't know if you want that option, but I think if you do, I think it would make sense for you guys to include that as a conditional use in the commercial PUD. That can be done under the land use code. It might just allow you more flexibility if you want to do more than
He
just.
does on occasion, skid steers,
Yeah, I'll do
light or
the
diesel.
light stuff, nothing.
Okay.
I don't do anything heavy, no.
Okay. So maybe it's not necessary then. I would just recommend to the commissioners that perhaps in the commercial PUD, you allow for a conditional use for, I don't know how you would want to term it, Don.
Right. Yeah, I mean.
I just want to be
it's
sure that.
cars, diesel pickups and semi tractors, so maybe listing semi trucks and I don't know how you'd term it,
That,
like small skid steers, small, I don't know what the term would be.
I think it would make sense to put that as a conditional use, just so you
For
don't
clar-
get at all crossways later on.
For
Just
clarity.
a thought, as I was looking at this, because I don't know exactly what you're doing there, but I just want to give you the
Right.
most flexibility in terms of your ability to do what you do.
So if we add the term conditional use, then do we add specific delineation to that as far as,
Yeah, so when you approve a commercial PUD, you can approve certain uses as part of that commercial PUD. And so the way it works is with commercial zoning, you're allowed to do a variety of things, including auto repair. Now, if you want to go beyond auto repair to say, the occasional repair of a semi, that could be a conditional use as part of the PUD. Does that make sense?
We definitely would want to have semis in there,
Def-
but we kind of figured that
Definitely,
as automobiles type.
And it arguably is. I think it's just
But
a
for
way,
clarity's sake.
just for clarity, just,
I think we should put in there that he does tractor and trailer repair.
Yep.
For us. That would be a way to do it, because
I think it makes sense.
if we just put tractor and trailer repair in there, then that's semi-tractors.
Yep.
And
But would that
trailer repair and that sort of thing, because
exclude any yellow iron?
otherwise, what's that?
I said, would that exclude any of the yellow iron? Which would be like a skid steer or something, we don't want to exclude that.
Well, no, yeah.
And that seems somewhat akin to auto repair. I just want to be sure that when we get down the road a number of years, and none of us are sitting here, that nobody comes back and says, oh, Mr. O'Brien's fixing semi-trucks, and arguably that's outside of commercial zoning. But if we have that as a condition of the commercial PUD, then that concern's alleviated. Then, as we get down the road, nobody's going to be jumping down your throat.
We could probably put tractor and trailer and SME, small motor equipment.
I think that would make sense. I think it just
Cover-
clarifies
that's
it.
That would cover a lot of.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's
most of that stuff,
appropriate,
I would think.
because it may be a
Because all that
tractor,
stuff
or
he does,
Right.
so-
farm tractor, or
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying, we don't want to.
small equipment, I like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Small equipment. That's what I work on, is the small
That
equipment.
sounds good.
Good.
No, I like that clarity, just like you say, then there's no
Then we get a
ambiguity.
decade down the road and different people are sitting up here and there's not going to be any question.
Right, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready. Go for it. I'm just waiting, I'm looking at Ian. Okay, all right, then it is time to open this up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application?
Come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you may address the board at this time. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll close the public comment session of this application, bring it back to the commissioner for any questions.
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
What do you actually use that shed that's the 15-foot?
Mostly just for storage, just to keep stuff out of the rain and the snow.
Want me to take a stab at this?
I think I've got it.
Okay. I would so move, we accept the proposed subdivision amendment application for proposed commercial rezoning and commercial planned unit development to Lot 31 of the Blue Door Subdivision. This is to include special uses to repair tractor, trailer, and heavy equipment and all associated uses thereof. On, let's see, this is submitted by Kenneth Hinton and Agent Richard O'Brien, property located 7351 Road 24.3 Cortez. Does that cover it?
I think so. I'm gonna add the SME in it.
Okay.
Yep. Correct.
With the SME? in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Second.
Okay, now let me see if I can put this together. It's been moved and seconded to accept the proposed subdivision
That's why we're
amendment
first.
application for proposed commercial rezoning, commercial planned unit development to Lot 31 of the Blue Door Subdivision submitted by Kenneth Hinton, Agent Rick O'Brien, on property located at 7351 Road 24.3 Cortez, Colorado, with the allowable conditions of the use of tractor-trailer repair along with SME.
And heavy equipment and all associated uses.
Which basically describes that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm good.
any further discussion?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will close this public hearing. There you
Thank you.
go, sir. I think it's covered.
Perfect. Oh, did you bring your sign? No, I'm just gonna run it up this afternoon. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Don. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Have a good day.
Then we have a Mylar to be signed on the single lot development that was just recently approved.
Yahoo. I did. Oh, sorry. That was me. They know Rick and Kenny's been fixing semis down there, building fire trucks and everything else.
I've known
Yeah.
since the late 70s, right?
I don't know where that area's not so industrial.
Should all be, well, there's some houses in there too.
Yeah, but I mean, there's
Did you,
mixed use, how's that?
did you guys hear the last rumor now that we're doing away with the Montezuma County Fair?
What?
That's what I said too. Yeah,
Okay.
serious.
Okay.
I think that's all for us today, short and sweet.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I don't see much public comment, but am I going to have any public comment today?
We don't have hardly any public.
Okay, well then I'm not going to go through this. We have opened and closed the public comment session of this meeting, and we're going to go straight to the department head reports. So, number one is the sheriff's office.
Okay, let's see here. I think that stays very well. Oh, wow. It connected. Holy smokes. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Kim, Ian, Travis? The calls for service for the month of September were 1,514. Everything is still ongoing the way that it always has been for this year, day and night. Numbers still seem to be about the same.
Where are we at?
Property crimes, drug crimes are increasing, still holding. However, we've, what I mentioned last month about the habitual criminal that was causing such havoc and thefts and burglaries, that was on the run with multiple pursuits for this subject. I told you that we were coming, and we did. He's been arrested and incarcerated. He's looking at multiple felony charges and habitual criminal violations. So that one's done. Any questions about the calls for service this month of September?
I just had some residents wanted to say thank you to all
Welcome.
you and Cortez PD for taking care of that. I
You
know
bet.
they're still ongoing out there, but
It is.
this took
It
care
is.
of a big portion of it.
It is. It took the assistance also of of La Plata County assisting us in apprehending this individual, just because more personnel were needed to ensure that nobody got hurt, including the suspect. And it went well. As far as for the jail, numbers are still there. We have 78 in custody as of today. 5 are being held out of those 78 for DOC. For the month of September, Cortez, City of Cortez, 44 inmates. They were charged $4,400 at $100 a day. Dolores County, unfortunately, 80 days, $8,000 is what they were billed for the month of September. I have 3 from Dolores County in custody now. 2 of them are serving lengthy sentences. For Department of Corrections, we had a total of 60 days. As you can see, these numbers are a lot less than 30 days being held. They are accepting them a lot faster than what they used to. $6,000 is what they were billed. Town of Dolores had 2 inmate days. They were billed $200 at $100 a day. Year to date, whether it makes much difference or not, it just continues on and off. 133 just for that month. These are the prisoner breakdowns, 2,433. over 20,000, going on to 21,000 now. For the days, which is really important, especially, and I'll address this with the SHP contract and whatnot. You can see the fluctuation in what the inmate days, how many we had. Up to 91. How many arrests and how many released per day for the month of September? 132 arrests with 129 releases. And those were courtesy holds. We have 5 being held in other counties for us. Any questions about
So the
jail report?
the two you said that we're holding for Dolores County, are those waiting for the DOC, or are those
No,
just long-term?
they're serving county jail sentences.
Just long-term for us?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to be kind of lengthy. So unfortunately for them, it's going to be lengthy. Yeah. For SHP, I know that I couldn't be here when your county administrator had talked with me about that and presented that. I don't know if, because I got another email from them wanting to know if the contract for 2024 had been signed. I don't know.
I think it was presented to us last week, 2 weeks ago?
For
Was
the
there-
Southern
for
Health Partners,
Southern
for the
Health
medical,
Partners?
for the jail?
Yeah, wasn't that what we signed? I emailed that to you and Wanda.
Oh, I hadn't seen that. Sorry. You emailed that?
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah,
sent
you
me
and
another
Wanda
one
should
saying
have
they
it.
hadn't received.
Unless there's something else, Sheriff, I don't.
No, that's all there
Okay.
is. Yeah.
We approved it, I want to say, 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
signed it.
I,
and
you
it-
know, if you sent it, I'll look for it. I just want to make
No,
sure
I'll send
that you had it. I didn't know if you had or not. Okay. And I apologize that I wasn't here to do that, but I sent Travis Anderson an email about what's going on with that contract, so you're all aware. Especially what's really important is the arrest daily population. That's one of the things that we try to keep under 80, but unfortunately, as you've seen, it'll go up to over 90.
Yeah, and I think it was an additional $1.29.
Yeah.
Correct?
It's
Is that-
$1.45 a day, something like that, and they go to $1.55. But I've already paid one. I'm expecting another invoice for those months after, through the summer and fall,
So, yeah,
for anything over 80. Yeah.
correct. We
Yeah.
did see that, and then we saw the increase in
Yeah.
the
And there's,
annual contract, too.
yeah, and that funding is in there, so. And I don't know where we're at as far as that $30,000 cost pool. I don't think it's ever been used. So that should be coming back to the county to be used for next year. Should be. Have to watch that and see. Okay. All right. I know that we have not had any discussions yet about the sheriff's budget. Can you tell me where we're at with that for 2024?
It should all be in the ClearGov.
Okay,
Software.
well, from what I saw in ClearGov, I don't know that it's actually been completed. So, I don't know.
The only thing we're waiting on is the Dolores contract.
Correct. As far as I know, that's the only thing that we're waiting on. Obviously, you were at the meeting Monday night, just like I was. It did sound like it was approved in their budget, but we just haven't seen anything back as far as a contract to actually sign. So that was presented Monday night. I don't know if it was prior or after you left, but they did have that budgeted in their budget, so it's just a matter of,
Last Monday? Yeah, I didn't see that in their
Monday night.
agenda, so.
it was within their budget presentation.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
from several months before, yeah. Yeah.
No, it was Monday night's presentation.
Yeah, I know, but the contract had been
So-
approved by them.
We have not
Couple months
seen
ago.
a
So
contract.
I don't know. Anyway,
So,
I wanted to, I've presented this before, and I wanted to make you aware of what the responsibilities and duties are of the sheriff under these numerous statutes in Colorado law. And it's quite extensive. You'll find this in Title 12, 13, 16, 18, and 24. Mostly in Title 30 is where a lot of the responsibilities and duties of the sheriff are. With that, also, it's just for, it takes funding to do operating, is the most important thing. And under Title 30, Article 2, 106, this is the responsibility of the sheriff to the deputies. And the salaries are fixed by the sheriff so long as they're approved by the Board of County Commissioners, which is a decision if you look at under this one case law. Circumstances to be considered by the board in determining reasonableness of salaries include the amount of revenue available, the needs of other county departments, and the ability of the county's taxpayers to fund additional requests, as well as the requesting department's need for expenditures. That's what I've tried to follow every single year with this. And it runs in concert with Title 30, Article 10, where the sheriff may appoint as many deputies as the sheriff think may be proper. Okay. The thing is that it's always a give and take, and there is a compromise in working out salaries and the number of FTEs. And that's where I've got some issues because we've never had any official discussions. Of this email that I received on September the 14th from your county administrator. It said that the budget was still in progress, but FTEs were reduced from 76 to 67. And I don't know, we've never had this discussion at all. What I'm concerned with is being able to maintain and not go back to the year of 2015 that I had to struggle with for several years until 2019 when we had a public hearing that allowed for those 5 FTEs that had been taken, and 6 were actually granted by the Board of County Commissioners, which brought it up to the 76 level. The thing is, though, is that I know that we have to budget for these things, and it's very important to do that. But when I see this coming out from the finance director about the budgets, it shows that there's reduction in FTEs in those. So that's my question, is that what are we going to be able to do to have a discussion about this? I'm looking at, when I look at clear.gov, I'm looking at the sheriff's budget that is actually has been reduced as of in 2023 in the 2019 and 2022 budget hearings. I had a budget of $2,561 or $2,561,864 in 2022. $529,114 was cut, which left a $2,032,750 budget. In the budgets that I have, looking at clear.gov, this table doesn't really require to that. I'm looking at between $195,516 to $249,634 being reduced. again. I don't know what the total figure is, and the problem that I have is that, I mean, I'm looking at some of these line items and the dollar amounts are awful hard to try and continue with what we've got as far as professional law enforcement agency going on. I mean, I look at scene security, for example. We're well over $7,500 this year for that. There's no money in there for the posse and Montezuma County Search and Rescue to assist with that. The sheriff cannot do all of those things that I've showed you without volunteer help. And we have to do something to help with those volunteers so that they come and help. Missing persons. When I have evacuations, scene security, things like that. Those are all things that pop up that you never can budget for, but you try to. And that's not a large amount of money in there for those things. And so I just want to make sure that we can at least have some discussions about the budgets, number one. Number two, the total FTEs that you're looking at on trying to cut. And, you know, I think that the public has a right to come in and voice their opinion one way or the other. I do. Just like it was back in 2019. So in 2020, things changed. But now we're going backwards. And I'm just asking,
You know,
that if we're
Steve,
going to do that,
we always welcome the public to come in
Okay.
and talk to us. But everybody has to realize, we would love to go back to 2019 figures and revenues. We're not. We're short. We started out $1.2 million short, and we've cut that down, but we're still $800,000 short that we have to draw out of reserves.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot continue to keep drawing out of reserves. Cuts have got to be made.
I understand
And
that.
every department is going to have to sustain those cuts.
Okay. I understand that, but when you see increases in others, it makes it difficult for me to understand. I mean, I got an email from Jim McLean yesterday that you want to cut the Performance Pro software program. That is for our evaluations. If we don't have that, then we have to go back to paper or not do it at all. And that's not what the public wants. They want to know that they are doing everything that they're supposed to do. And then the LADTech program, that's our scheduling for our duty hours for every division. And so if those are cut, we got to go back to paper. And I'm telling you, trying to work that out, that's why we went to these programs, is because they were working and they helped to the communications between everybody. Their hours to work and what their vacation, holidays, sick time, things like that, it's all recorded there. We'd have to go back to paper, and I can tell you that if we do, that it's going to be a nightmare.
So I can tell you that we haven't had a conversation with Jim McLean because we tasked him to take all of the software of all of the county departments
Exactly.
to see what was being utilized and what was not being utilized, because the reoccurring costs for the software is another place that we were looking at to cut. So what do we need? What can we take out of this software for the entire county to cut? So I can tell you right now that the commissioners, probably not, maybe Travis, maybe not, have not seen anything. So I'm sure that he's not asking you to go back to paper documents if there's something else that's in there. So we haven't seen that, so I can't really speak to it other than we did task him with taking over all of the county departments' software, and that is in his budget for him to look at, to see what are we paying for that we don't need to be paying for.
Oh, exactly. I have no problem with that. I don't even have things that I don't need. I don't.
So,
But this is an email that I got from him, October the 16th.
You can forward it to us.
Okay? I mean, there's some software that the administration and the Board of County Commissioners want to cut. Performance Pro and LADTech. I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
Okay?
so
So,
real
I
quick,
don't know.
Jim's gonna come up and kind of explain it, but in summary, on the Performance Pro, he found that only one person was utilizing that software. The lad tech on the scheduling stuff, he indicated that he could build something for a lot less to help the sheriff's office out. And we believe we also have additional software once we get through with Cassell and their updates to be able to address that. So that's where some of the cost savings was coming from.
Correct. So, like I said, Sheriff, I don't think Mr. McLean would cut anything to put you back to paper. We don't live in a paper world, it's all digital. So I can't imagine that. But he was tasked to cut all of the costs for all of the software that we are paying for on an annual basis that we do not need.
Yeah. Well,
And
there's
that's
more than
prudent.
one person that is using Performance Pro. That's every single supervisor and division administrator, okay? So it's more than, there's one that's assigned to that, to maintain that, but that's, so there's, everybody uses that.
Hi.
Hi, right? Okay,
So the reason I picked a lab tech is because everything you're doing in lab tech, we can do internally with Cassell. That's why I chose that one.
okay,
Because you're saying we have to go back to paper, that's not true.
okay,
We have the tools.
okay.
We just gotta learn new stuff.
That's not a problem. The thing is that don't cut it off before. If we're gonna do something like that, we need to have it so that we can continue into 2024.
Well, it's already paid for into 2024.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna start in 2025 then.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I wish you would explain that to me.
We've been busy,
I know, okay, no problem. Okay,
just trying to find a way to streamline
So I
stuff. that's
think,
already-
you know, I'm gonna stop this because I think this goes back into a budget discussion that you need to schedule a meeting with us. We can all sit down together, just like we have with everybody else, and we can get all of this squared away. But you do have to schedule it and be able to, at your schedule, show up.
I have no problem with that
Okay.
at all.
Well, then just get
Okay.
with Travis. If there are other things that you have, this budget is not finalized. This is what has been presented, but it's not finalized.
There's been, okay, so long as it hasn't been finalized. But the thing is
We
that
don't finalize our budget until December 15th, I
15th
believe.
is when it has
16th?
to be.
December 6th.
So,
Okay,
yeah, like every year.
okay. Yes,
Still a
it
work
is.
in progress.
Okay,
We're still waiting for a Dolores contract. We don't know if that's come in or not yet, so there's all kinds of things that are still out there.
okay.
And you can also get with Mr. McLean and find out what is and what isn't, and if not, we can bring it back into the budget committee and go from there.
Okay, well, if we're going to start talking about reducing FTEs, I would like to ask for a public hearing.
We had a discussion a couple weeks ago up here. And with part of the surveys that we have done with counties of our size, as close as possible, it was a discussion, and I can find it and send it to you on YouTube,
You
or
know,
Mr. McLean can.
We've done that too.
But really, it's the budget is all, how you run your department is obviously up to you. How we run the budget is up to us. So if we feel that there are too many FTEs, have a public hearing, you can have whatever you want. But at the end result, like Commissioner Lindsay said, at the end of the day, how much further in reserves do you want us to go? We're already going basically $1 million into reserves. For the last 3 years, you over budgeted $950,000. So we can take a reduction right there.
How do you figure?
Well, because it shows when you go back and look at the last 3 years. So again, we can have this conversation. The budget is not finalized until December 15th.
Okay.
So set up a meeting with Travis and we can continue.
Are
and
we
again-
going to have a public hearing or not?
We don't do public hearings for wages.
Okay. How do you get the public involved?
We present the budget, and we have a public hearing when we present the
Okay.
finalized budget.
Correct.
Okay. And that'll be when?
We
December the
have
6th.
we have to submit it. It has to be advertised for 30 days, correct?
2 weeks, I
2
believe.
weeks. We have our public hearing, And then we don't finalize it until the 15th or 16th. So whatever that time frame marches out prior to that. So November-ish is when it gets published.
And the budget committee is who? Travis?
Myself, Travis,
Phaedra?
and Phaedra.
Timeline.
And you?
Yep, 3 of us.
Okay.
And I guess,
Sure, I've got, I'll send you the timeline again. The budget timeline.
This is from McLean.
was something that was delivered to me last month. It's just for you. You and I can have those discussions later. You can share those with whoever you want, but I just want you to have those,
Okay,
okay?
sure.
That's concerning. So, all right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Morning, George.
All right.
Good morning.
Come on up, Mr. Corner.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
We doing good? All right. Well, here's my numbers for last month. I had 13 coroner cases, had 2 hospice cases, which is a change. That was good. We did 4 autopsies, had 1 fatal motor vehicle accident, had another suicide and overdose, and no homicides, which is a good thing. That brings cases up for the year. Had another one this morning, so I'm at 198 total cases. Coroner cases be 120, 78 hospice, 40 autopsies, 11 fatal motor vehicle accidents, 11 suicides, 3 overdoses, and 4 homicides. So, moving right along.
Seems MBA's, deaths, motor vehicles, is it up a little bit?
Actually, it's down from last year.
Is it?
Yeah, look, we used to average 5 to 6 a year,
Right.
and then for some reason, you can say COVID or not, but whenever COVID hit, we started increasing. Last year, we were up to 17, and we're at 11, so it's above the average 3 years ago, but it's lower than last year. So I don't know what made everything jump. The only thing I know is COVID, but I don't know what that would have to do with it other than people staying at home, they're driving more.
Yeah.
No idea.
Maybe they forgot how to drive.
Forgot how to drive, had to stay at home.
So again, I think, George, and I've asked this before, if you could put the year-to-date totals in comparison to last year, it kind of really helps us out, and actually the
Right
public,
now,
too.
I haven't looked in the last couple weeks. Last time I checked, we were 2 under last year. So we're right in the same
Basically,
ballpark.
Same, yeah. But if you could add that data, that would be nice.
Okay,
I'd appreciate it.
okay. I'll start putting that in compared to last year's numbers. Any other questions?
See any trends? Anything standing out for you?
Same thing as always, alcohol-related deaths. That's just, I probably ought to try to figure out a number. I would bet that would stay right in line with cardiac. And cardiac's supposed to be the #1 cause of death, but I think that in this area, alcohol-related deaths are probably pretty close to it. Overdoses seem to be down, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right, you guys have a good day.
Yep. You too. And I see that our DA just walked in, so you are next, sir and lady.
And I'm just here to answer questions. Not a whole lot to report. Nobody's been shot in the last couple of weeks, and things are proceeding apace.
And we're fully staffed.
And we are fully
Oh,
staffed.
good.
Let's not go bragging about it. Let's just,
Yeah. Every time somebody brags about it, the next week we get 2 resignations, so.
That may be our luck, but we'll see. We're doing good so far.
People come and go, but we've been lucky so far.
I'm hearing good things.
Good, good.
Getting everything ran through properly, appropriately, efficiently?
Some of the trials are getting continued just for various reasons, but they're still staying on track for what they should be.
Not by us.
Yeah, not our
Yeah.
fault.
Defense attorneys claiming injury and so forth, but,
And they have
We're-
turnover as well,
Yeah.
so they lost.
but we have no backlog and things are going pretty well, and mostly when we go to trial, we win.
Mr. Hatfield, I know you're working on a public nuisance action. We're kind of working in conglomeration. Where are we at with that?
So we managed to get the owner served. This is the trap house out sort of by the fairgrounds that burned down. We managed to get the owner served. There's a 30-day waiting period. I think we're close to the end of that. We'll file the criminal case, assuming we win. I believe the county gets the property, and then Mr. McLaren can take over on the cleanup. And if that works,
I don't think it'll fit in his car.
not the little one, and then if that works, there's another one we have in mind out sort of by the dump. So we'll see how it goes. Never done one before, but we're looking forward to it.
Okay.
And it's really been a huge help for our county that this district attorney is willing to do this. This is a big deal. In the past, we've had to bring some of these actions through our land use code, and it's just simply not as effective because it's more difficult to get rights of entry. It's more difficult to compel cleanup. And so, Mr. Hatfield, I know from my perspective, I really appreciate what you guys are doing in this regard.
Thank you. The statute's a little complicated and it has multiple steps, and some DAs don't like to do it, but I think it'll be fun.
Well, good, because we get a lot of complaints over that right there.
Yeah.
Tons of them.
Make the county look a little prettier.
So, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. Clarissa, you have absolutely nothing?
Not this week. I will have statistics next meeting.
Okay.
We're just cranking away.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, okay, well, Ms. Locke, come on down. We're gonna talk about a workforce grant,
Yes.
through CDPHE, and I do have the DocuSign, which I think is still good.
Perfect, and it has
Correct.
your name on it, right? Because I changed the name and I
Let me
put your
get
name
there.
on it. It had me on it. Should have your name. I reassigned it to you. Hopefully. So before I get started on talking a little bit more about this, I just want to take a minute to thank you, Travis, for working with us. You have always been really good about juggling with us with our schedules, and because we couldn't make next week's workshop, and this week we didn't have a workshop, so I'm here to do what I would normally do at a workshop. So again, thanks, Travis. We appreciate all you do to support us in public health as we work through a lot of different issues. So, did you see that your name is on there?
I can't open it.
Oh, that's not a good sign. Well, I did scan it and sent it to, I believe everyone has it in their email, right? Okay. So I can address that with the state if I need to, if you're not able to open it. I asked that it would not expire, but wouldn't be the first time. So this is basically the CDC funding that went to CDPHE, the state, and it is a workforce grant in the amount of $274,926 that we received. And it goes from July 1 of this year, it started, and ends November 30th of 2027. So it's a multi-year grant. And they were just late getting this document out. That's why we're kind of signing it after we're already in it. But that was not the CDPHE's fault. That was the CDC was late getting it to the state. So this funding basically is a result of COVID. And the fact that it came to the light of everyone that public health was majorly underfunded and had little capacity to handle a pandemic such as that. So that's what prompted this funding to come through. The goal of this funding is to build and retain public health workforce. I will just say the workforce in general is a challenge for everyone right now, and public health is no exception to that. So what we specifically are planning on doing with this funding is we are taking this money is going to pay half the salary of our public health planner, which is Katie Maxwell. And she's currently a prevention specialist, but we're going to basically have her be a public health planner, which will help us do our community health assessment that we need to do, and we're going to be launching that in 2024. And all of the processes that we have in place for the existing grants that we have, all of our budgets, all of our reporting, all of the things that we have to do in public health. So it's going to help support her role in that. And the other half of her position, it will be funded by the OPHP, which stands for the Office of Public Health Practice Planning and Local Partnerships. So, okay, got it, good.
Got it.
And the other portion of this funding, about $30,000, will go to support Trent Woods, who is our new EPR coordinator, Emergency Preparedness Response Coordinator, and EM support, but the piece of his job that involves communications. So we will be using some of this money to support our communications with communicating with the community. So that's what this money is going to be used for at this point in time. We do have, there's certain requirements that we have to do to fulfill the contract, and obviously we have to present a budget. We have to have, we do progress reports every 3 months. All of this is entered into the state database. We have to attend a post-award meeting and annual program check-in meetings, and then we have to create a final report by November 30th of 2027. One of the other things that we have had as a long-term goal that we've never had the capacity to do in public health is, and you may have seen from other public health agencies around the state, is an annual report to report out basically everything that has gone on within our county and within public health for the year. And that is a helpful tool for people to have on every level. So that's something that we hope to be able to produce moving forward too. So that's kind of where we are, what we're going to do with this money. Will it solve all the workforce problems? No, but we are going to be working toward it, and hopefully, I'm hopeful that within time, this workforce issue that's throughout the nation gets better. So, do you have any questions about this contract, about what we're going to do with the money? Any issues?
I have none.
No.
Okay. And Travis, I mean, Ian, you've looked this over. And
Yep, this looks fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Great. All right. Thank
And
you.
I do have it now. They just sent the new link.
Perfect.
So as soon as it's approved, then I will sign it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right, gentlemen.
I move to approve this Master Task Force Order Contract Number 23 FAA 00035 between the State of Colorado and Montezuma County Board
Second.
of Commissioners
Sorry, Gerald.
for the Public Health Agency.
Sorry. I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept and sign the task order between the State of Colorado and the Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County. The task order contract number is 23 FAA 00035 for the Public Health Department in the amount of $274,926.00. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's finished. All right, moving right along. Page 2, next we have our discussion regarding the fairgrounds solar installation. We did open up our bids last week, so Mr. Dobry, Mr. McGuire, come on down. Okay, gentlemen, we had two bids last week, one from a local vendor in Durango and one from Grand Junction. We opened them up, gave them back to you, and what have you come up with as far as your recommendations?
So when we opened the second bid, we found that it was not signed. So that was an issue with that bid. We did reach out to the vendor and have a copy of that signed page. So we have a signed version if you choose to move forward. And then I will let Justin talk a little bit about the bids in general.
Yeah, I didn't see anything really wrong with either of the two bids as far as getting the work done or anything like that. What I can say is just looking into the two companies, you know, the one Shaw Solar we did work with 3 other times here with the county, and from what I gather, everything was good with our relationship with them. The Utopian Power Company, they are actually based out of Michigan. They just have a satellite office in Colorado because that's where they're expanding right now. So they haven't really done any work in Colorado, and they just started in 2020 doing some of their work in Michigan and Illinois, I believe. But other than that, they do both look like they would be capable of doing the systems that we need there.
So my question is, if we did not have a signed bid package, a bid document, that would exclude them from the bid because they did not follow the instructions to bidders. Is that correct?
So, Commissioner,
I mean,
the bid packet was complete with the exception of a signature on one page. And, you know, our procurement policy doesn't necessarily delve into that specifically. You know, my recommendation would be, I mean, it's like a misspelled word. And so, you know, obviously, I think the lack of a signature may reflect on the company in certain ways. I would not disqualify their bid, though, based on what's a small technicality. Now, what that means, you know, in terms of how you want to consider this company, that certainly is a consideration, because obviously signing a bid is an important part of submitting a bid. But the bid met all of the you know, the requirements, other than just one page was not signed, is my understanding.
Well, I mean, there's only one signature required for the bid, and that was the one that wasn't there. I was just going to say, my recommendation, I think our recommendation as staff, including Travis, is to move forward with the Shaw bid.
Just a couple of quick questions before we go there. Where is Utopia based out? I mean, do they have an office here in Colorado somewhere?
They got a satellite office in Grand Junction.
Okay.
So they're headquartered out of Michigan. They began in 2020, started their business in 2020. I believe the owner did some schooling in Colorado, from what I gather. So that's kind of why they're wanting to kind of come into the Colorado market. So they are new to Colorado as far as their services. I don't think they have any Colorado projects done, definitely none in our area. So it's something that they're just trying to open and expand to.
And who came out low bid?
The low bid was Utopian Power.
Okay.
I think when we opened them up last week,
Yeah.
we had one on Monday and one on Tuesday, and there was like $15,000, if my memory serves me correct.
Yeah, I
Is
want
that
to
what it
say
was?
somewhere in there, 15 to 17 difference.
Total
Yeah, I
on
think
both
so.
systems?
Yeah, roughly 17,000, I think, was the rough figure.
And Shaw is based out of Durango, correct?
Yes.
And your recommendation is to proceed with Shaw Solar?
Yes.
Okay.
I would agree with their recommendation. We have a fledgling company that we don't know. We've dealt with Shaw before, and this is a substantial project for us. So I like their location, the way that, you know, we can, if we have to, we can go over there and drag them over here. So I would move we accept Shaw Solar's bid for a solar project at Fairgrounds.
There were two different amounts. There were one for the big system and one for the smaller system.
The two bid amounts, the larger system for Shaw Solar is $302,788, and the smaller system is $115,032.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the Shaw Solar bid for the fairgrounds solar installation for both of the systems, the larger system in the amount of $302,788 and the smaller system in the amount of $115,032. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, just for your guys' knowledge, we're starting to see some inactive solar projects around, so keep that in mind. I mean, panels, some of the older panels are not, they don't function as well as the newer stuff. So. And the inverters are usually the problem, not the panels.
Yeah, well, I think they do have a 25-year warranty on their panels when they do. I don't know about the inverters, but I do think the panels are 25 if I remember correctly. So
We have all their warranty information. I don't have it with me. I have it in my office, but I believe that all their warranties are industry standard. I think you're correct that the inverters have a shorter lifespan and shorter warranty.
And our grant basically is covering, I think that needs to be highlighted also. We did receive the grant, the
EIAF, Energy Impact.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an energy impact grant
Yeah,
from the
it's
state
an
of
energy
Colorado.
impact grant. I can't remember all the acronyms.
And it does completely cover the 75% for the grant, covers 75% of the bid, and then we are eligible for a federal direct pay tax credit that municipalities and counties previously hadn't been. But after we complete the project, we'll apply for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Okay. Under new discussion, Ms. Dorncamp, come on down. I guess we're going to discuss the sick leave pool again.
So here we are, a year in the making, so to speak. Can you hear me all right?
You bet.
You got to get it as close to you as you possibly can.
Can you
Like
hear me now?
right here. Yeah. Closer.
Is that better?
Pull it
there
closer.
There we go, I guess. I can hear that. So just as a little refresher, an overview of previous conversations that we've had, we started researching back in October of 2022 of the sick leave pool due to some misappropriation of it and everything like that. And came to the commissioners after discussing with the benefit committee. We met with them in May of 23 and set up a meeting with the BOCC workshop and meeting for June of 23, which was then postponed. So we commissioners felt we needed to include the department heads in this discussion, which we did meet with the department heads and we had that big conversation with them also. And then in July of 2023, there was a BOCC meeting with the decision of disbanding the sick leave pool due to all the research and information that we brought you before. And per the benefits committee, it was suggested to implement a accrued sick leave donation program. We are still continuing to have issues regarding the implementation of this, following the guidelines of the original sick leave pool, which brings us to our options of today. The county could define the meaning with examples of the guideline. Catastrophic illness or accident seems to be the issue. Or the county could drop the catastrophic illness accident guideline, making it less restrictive for employees to utilize this program. And or else the county could disband this program as it did the sick leave pool.
So I thought when we voted, we did vote to get rid of the sick leave pool.
Correct.
We were just to expire
this-
the hours that currently existed, correct?
Correct.
Is that the way I understood it?
Correct.
So,
But there's still issues arising because of the catastrophic illness or accident. Employees are trying to utilize it without that guideline, which was part of the problem with the sick leave pool because people were using it incorrectly. Hence why we could either define what that means, making it clearer so employees understand that, where they're just under the impression or believe that they can use it however format. Just because they're out of vacation or sick leave, they believe that they can just use this and don't.
which was part of the entire discussion that we had previously at the department head meetings, which is why I think that we decided to get rid of it because it was more trouble than
Right.
basically what it was worth, and then the tracking mechanism from your standpoint.
Correct.
How many, there wasn't that many hours left in this pool. Why
No,
don't we
and
just
there-
give those back in reverse order and be done with it?
Which was suggested before, and then come further investigation, 214 of those hours were never actually, let's say, correctly added to the 217 hours that was in the calculation. 214 out of the 217 hours was given by an employee who was leaving. And in that guideline, they weren't even allowed to be paid out those hours. So it was like a misqualification because in the county, you have to be of retirement age to be paid out of your sick hours, which that person was not. So you can't donate something that you don't even get paid out for. So that only leaves 3.25 hours to, and that's the whole issue with why we were trying to correct the sick leave pool and come up with a different option for the employees. But it's still an issue whether, you know, is the county gonna just end up supplementing and giving away these hours to employees due to the misuse of the previous program. So we're left holding the same bag, basically.
What is your recommendation, Lynn? What are you recommending that the commissioners do?
It's still the same problem. I think it just,
So what are you
researching,
recommending?
Disbanding it. It's not working. Employees can't utilize it with the restrictions that are, or the guidelines that are set up for it.
Which is what I think the recommendation that was brought to us.
And I
The
thought
first
it
time.
already was
Disbanded.
disbanded.
It was, and this is the accrued sick leave. So one was a pool, one's donation. We got rid of the pool. But
Correct.
the donation per the benefit committee followed the same guidelines as the pool. But
Which
we
was
weren't
to
collecting ahead of
exhaust-
time.
Which was to exhaust the remaining hours,
So you
But
want,
to-
which was left in the pool.
are you wanting to get rid of the donation program now?
Yes, because it's not working with the same guidelines as the pool. It's just, we're just furthering along the same issue.
Yeah, people are dipping into it that really don't, it's not
Correct.
catastrophic or
And
long-term
because now
medical.
people are wanting to dip into it like they did before
Yeah.
with the donation program. And when it's like, no, it's not qualifiable, then it's an issue.
I guess the comment that I would make is that, I mean, my understanding is that the purpose of this donation program was to account for catastrophic events.
Correct.
And that the benefits committee, I mean, that's one of the things that they've
What
been
is
tasked
that?
with, determining what is catastrophic and when this is going to be allowed to be utilized. I mean, that's why we have the benefits committee. That's one of their jobs. And so,
Which is what they've come up with here, basically, is what you have in front of us.
I guess I'm just confused. I mean, it seems like we have a program in place. We have a
Right.
benefits committee that is in charge of determining this. Why would we get rid of this?
Because employees, we're still having issues because employees are trying to use it and they can't, and then they're upset.
Well, but that's the benefits committee's job to ensure that. And I mean, you know, maybe an employee's going to be upset. I mean,
Right.
employees get upset day to day for all kinds of reasons.
Right, but we're still having issues
One, it's a
of this
capacity.
guideline. This right here, on the first rough draft, it did not have a description of catastrophic illness or accident. It was just a flow over and switch from pool to donation. This is an example of what a definition could be. That's why I brought options to the board of either we go back and come up with a meaning, so it's a clearer guideline for employees to even try and apply for it. If a catastrophic illness or accident, and they don't seem to understand that.
But isn't that what the benefits committee determines? What that is? I mean, wasn't that the whole way we had set that up? That the benefits committee was gonna,
I guess the question that came into play at that, if I remember correctly, that a catastrophic illness due to HIPAA, it can only be shared with probably one person, which is gonna be HR.
Right.
It's not gonna be an entire group.
And then
So
we're having.
it's not gonna get brought to us as
No.
commissioners to say, hey,
And
we're
we're
either
having
gonna say
doctor's
it would
offices
comply or not
refuse.
comply, which the poll basically sounds like there are no hours in it right now at all. So how would the benefits committee decide whether it's catastrophic?
well, so I mean, under HIPAA, a provider can't release information, but a patient can.
Right.
And so, I mean, if somebody wants to be involved with this, they can bring their
That would
medical
be
information
between
to the
them
benefits
and
committee.
HR, not us.
Yeah, no, this isn't involving you guys. I mean, the benefits committee is the one that's supposed to decide what's catastrophic and what's not. Am I wrong?
No.
Yeah, this is not to be used for everyday sickness, illnesses, and,
I understand that. Trust me, I understand that. It's just,
yeah. And is it not being,
Party
are we not
at
getting
large.
through to the employees?
correct.
Well, I think we're kind of quasi getting through to the employees, but I mean, even today, or not today, but this week, we got 2 ex-employees that thought they had accrued sick leave and wanted to donate all of their
After
sick
they
leave.
quit.
They don't even work here.
Well, they don't have any,
Yeah, they
Right.
don't have any
So
time.
that's where, and most counties have gotten away from this.
Right,
is
and that
what I'm
was our
thinking.
research and our original presentation was other counties and municipalities do not have these programs because it's a nightmare.
Well, I can see how it could become one real quick,
Right.
but I don't want, the employees to lose that it's not a benefit.
And it's
but-
not a benefit. That's the other
Right. It's not a
misconception
benefit,
of
but,
this.
An avenue to go to in case, in case there's a real need. But how do you determine that is the big question.
But that's what the benefits committee does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we've tasked the benefits committee with
think-
doing.
there are 2 different things that I see, and I'll use where I came from. It was called compassionate leave, and it wasn't a donation of sick at all. It had to be vacation hours, because vacation hours are different than sick. But I think what the recommendation is today, which we already approved months ago, was to get rid of the pool
Correct.
and only to utilize the hours that are in there. But it sounds like we only have 3 hours in there.
3.25. So 3 hours and 15 minutes.
And you have people that have already departed trying to retroactively donate their sick time. That don't cut it.
No, that doesn't.
That does more.
No.
You have got, you've got to be an employee to donate your time.
When the employee goes away, the
logistics of
sick and vacation.
You know, this is
the
stuff
vacation
that,
is paid out, so-
stuff that needs to be worked out day to day. I mean, this is,
Which I've tried, but then they're going to the commissioners or reaching out to administration. Hence why I'm here today, because they don't like the day-to-day operation.
Well, that's the way it is.
So can we just give these 3.2 hours in reverse order back to whoever the last person that donated and just be done with this entire pool in its entirety? I think that's what you're.
But what I'm
recommending.
understanding is it's not the pool that's
It's
the
not the
issue, it's the
pool, it's
donation
the donation.
program.
Right.
I was just giving a review.
Yeah,
The
we
sick
can't-
leave
Correct.
pool is gone.
We can't
This-
accept things they don't have.
Right. I understand that completely, trust me.
We're gonna get her to smile yet.
So I guess then, for us, I guess because this is in the handbook,
I'm sorry.
This
It
is
is
in the
not in the
handbook.
handbook.
this is not in the handbook.
It is not in the handbook.
Well, then does it even I mean, what's your pleasure?
Gerald, you want?
I mean, I'd have to go back and watch the last meeting, but my recollection is that you guys approved this donation program
Correct.
for catastrophic injuries. That's what
Correct.
was done at the meeting.
Right.
And so
Correct.
that's where we are.
To exhaust the hours that remained in the pool.
And then
And the
when
pool
that
is
was
gone.
done,
It
when
was
the
done.
pool was done, then there was gonna be this donation program where employees could donate hours to an employee of their choosing, because we had the whole conversation about what if one employee was more unpopular than another employee, would they get more? But that was what was decided, that we were gonna allow employees to donate to other employees in the event of a catastrophic injury, is my recollection.
Yeah, that's.
Catastrophic illness or accident.
Exactly.
And
And
that's,
so,
the
And
key
it
word
was
there is
going to
employees
be-
can donate.
yeah.
Past
Non-employees
employees
can't
can.
Yeah, so I mean, the decision's been made, we just need to implement it. We're done. I mean, unless you guys want to change something.
Which I agree, but I think we probably need approval from the commissioners as to the definition of catastrophic, so that everybody in the county, all the employees in the county, know what a catastrophic injury or illness is. Because shortly thereafter, the meeting that we had is, we was getting people calling saying, well,
And they're like, well,
cancer's
we're not even gonna-"
cancer is not
Right.
catastrophic, but a migraine is.
But that's what the benefit committee is supposed to determine.
To an extent, but I think they also need guidance as to what catastrophic
Yeah,
is as well.
Cancer is a catastrophic
I think the
illness.
catastrophic is probably designed in the medical terms of what is catastrophic and what is not. I don't know that we would do that or the benefits committee would
Let's
do
put
that.
this on the health department. They know health.
And if I,
They might have a better definition of a catastrophic illness than we do.
well, insurance and everything like that.
Yeah.
It just seems to be, before there was no definition, and then there have been concerns with, well, you didn't specify. It's a conundrum of, it's okay for, one person understands it, another person does not. Clear as mud, basically. Beat your head up against the wall until somebody understands it.
So the tracking mechanism, I mean, that was the big part of the discussion that we had.
Correct.
Because it was equally as cumbersome and it was difficult to do.
Yes.
And it was left on one person to do. Which is one of the, I think one of the reasons why we said, let's just get rid of this thing, and then that way we don't have to worry about it anymore. And if it's not in the handbook, I don't know. There's 3 hours in the pool that's left,
Yes.
3.2. I don't.
But the pool's not even an issue at this point.
No.
it
That's
was
not
just
what
the
we're talking
hours-
about.
According
The hours in the
to-
pool, that's all.
In the
We've
last
already made that
decision,
decision.
it was,
It's
the
gone.
sick leave pool was done, and we were transferring those hours over to the donation program so they would be utilized. So the first donation or a person who needed to use a catastrophic illness or accident situation could use those leftover hours from the
First.
sick leave pool as a jumping point before we reached out for donation. Is how that was the transition between disbanding one and implementing another per the committee's suggestion. We were trying to accommodate that.
So, I think Ian asked you, what was your recommendation, but what's the committee's recommendation? Do we have a committee recommendation?
This has not come back before the committee because it's a day-to-day issue. And right off the bat, someone's like, well, I'm not even going to offer this program if it's for catastrophic illness or accident because this doesn't fall into that. And I go, that is correct. And they were upset. I'm like, sorry. And then another issue has arisen where someone's wanting to use it and it doesn't fall into that category either. And then it blows up, blows up, blows up. Well, you should do this and you should do that. So, yeah. So we thought it was wise to bring options to the board and be like, what do we do? Because it's still not working, whether it's a pool or a donation.
And we're sitting here, all of this for 3.2 hours.
Correct. It's a waste of time.
But it's not just the 3.2 hours, it's
No.
the ability of employees to donate. I mean, that's the question. Can employees donate sick leave for catastrophic injuries? And you guys said yes. And now there's this issue where it sounds like employees aren't liking the benefits committee's analysis of what a catastrophic injury is. Well, tough. I mean, that's what the
benefit committee did not give a definition to catastrophic. That's why I'm here going, okay, do we go back to the board or go back to the process of defining what that means, or dropping it altogether, or just dropping the donation program altogether? And this has been a year-long process at this point for 3.25 hours.
But it's not for 3.25 hours, it's for the whole program.
Well, personally, I think you should do away with those 3.25 hours. Done. We're done with them.
Okay.
Okay? If people, and I don't know that we even need this definition. If people want to donate their hours, they can donate their hours to somebody else. But if people know whether that's something that's really serious or not. The other employees are not going to donate if they don't think it's necessary to donate to another person. I don't know that we.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that you need that definition. Just make it available that people can donate to somebody if they ask for it, and if they want to donate, they can donate their hours, and if they don't want to donate, they won't. If they don't think it's catastrophic or they don't think it's really serious, they're not going to donate their hours anyway. I don't know why we need that I guess I don't understand why we need that definition in there, personally.
Okay.
Just start with the program that if somebody wants to donate their hours or somebody got hurt or something, that's fine. But I don't think you have to define that stuff. I think we could just, I don't know.
You
I think
can't
we're making it
define-
way too complicated.
And you can't define it. I mean, because you get into so
hard.
much mud, it's just,
What's catastrophic to me is not the same
Right.
as to Kent. I mean, it's different. There's a big difference in that. And so.
So definitions of catastrophic, I'm sorry, Commissioner, I'll just read these for you real quick because I just pulled them up. Their injuries are extensive burns, loss of a limb, severe brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, injuries causing paralysis, anything that affects many body systems, central nervous system, gastrointestinal, urinary, respiratory, circulatory, and reproductive and others. But it also says many wide varieties of events may cause a catastrophic injury. So
It's pretty ambiguous.
we don't need the
It's a
definition.
rabbit hole.
I guess one thing we could do is just do away with the catastrophic total portion of it, and just.
So then
if you
how do
wanna-
we
if you wanna
track it?
donate to somebody.
I think the other
that is in
issue is
need.
how do we track it? That was
That's
part
why
of
we
the
would
big
do
thing
the
is how do we
donation
track it?
part and
Yeah.
have
And how do you
forms to
take it away?
donate.
How do you add it? How do you track it?
And then payroll would have to move it from one person to another and not be in the excess amount it was before. Because accrued sick leave hours are, like I said before, not paid out unless you're of retirement age. That's the other issue. We're paying liability insurance on a probability of sick leave hours. So is it really tangible? Like vacation leave is tangible. That person is paid out of that leave when they leave, no matter how much there is. Unlike the sick leave, accrued sick leave hours. Where there's a cap on that. And a guideline for that, which is in the employee handbook.
So you have 3 questions in front of us then, basically.
Right.
Am I correct? 3?
3, correct.
So obviously the pool is gone other than the 3.2 hours, so we're not really discussing that.
No,
It's just
we're
a
not.
matter
That
of,
was just
the-
refreshing our memories.
right.
Right.
So go over those 3 again, please.
The county could define the meaning with examples of the guideline catastrophic illness or accident. The county could drop catastrophic illness or accident guideline, making it less restrictive to be utilized. Or the county could disband the accrued sick leave donation program as it did the sick leave pool.
Okay.
Well, I stated that, I think we should just do away with that catastrophic illness or accident deal. If people want to donate their acute time to somebody else, I think that's up to them. And I realize it is gonna be more paperwork to do it, but I think that's an option people should have if they wanna help out a friend or another employee that's working for this county. If they wanna donate their time to them, I think that should be their choice. Whatever the illness is. I really don't. I don't think that's something that we have to decide. I think they should be able to do that if they want to. That's just my opinion.
Of current employees.
Yes, of current employees.
Well, yeah, if you don't
Yeah.
work here, that wouldn't apply with anybody anyway. I don't think anybody
No, just
even
if
has
you're
that for
a
a
current
discussion.
Montezuma County employee, you wanna donate your time.
I guess my question is, would it be better to, instead of sick leave, would it be better to make this vacation then? It's the same donation. Or the same hours. I guess it would equal the same hours.
I mean, sick leave is intended to help sick employees. I mean, that's the intention of it. So it seems like it would make sense to be able to donate that to somebody who's sick.
I think we should stick with the sick leave.
Okay. So the question in front of us is 1, to define catastrophic, 2, to drop catastrophic, and 3, to disband the sick leave donation entirely. So. You're saying drop
Do you think
catastrophic.
most of the people are in favor of having this option available to donate or not?
Yes and no. For the people who never have any accrued time, they're the ones who are gonna utilize it and then, or try to utilize it. But like you said, other employees who are like, well, they abuse it or whatever, or never have anything racked up, I'm not gonna give them mine or donate mine to them. So just because they have the access to it doesn't mean that anybody's going to donate to them.
And that's what I was getting at.
I
Right,
think, you know,
exactly.
Keeping
So
the
I-
pool empty, rather than having those hours set out there is.
Yeah, they're done.
they're
Yeah,
done.
just clean cut it.
Yes.
Yeah, just do away totally with the hours. And
Right.
just,
But that's not
I-
what's basically in front of us. It's the sick leave donation.
yeah.
Right.
And just make it where if something does happen, then people can donate their hours. But if
If they
they,
so choose.
that's up
Yes.
to their
It's
choice.
voluntary.
That's their choice.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah. Take the catastrophic out of it, or do you want?
Yeah, no, let's take that catastrophic
Yeah.
illness or accident
We'll
out
make
of
it
it
work for
and
you,
just
but-
make it a people's choice. If they wanna donate the hours, they can. If they don't,
So then I guess there are 3 documents that I saw in here. Are you guys in agreement with
Now we
what
can change
these
that.
say? I mean, because there was,
That was just like an example.
correct, but I
right,
think,
for presentation for today. And then,
but there typically is a cap,
options,
like
right.
4 hours, 8 hours,
Right.
whatever it is,
right,
which is what we saw in here. But like, you've got people that don't even work here wanting to donate 200 hours? That doesn't.
So, I mean, I think as I understand,
Worse.
we would just, my recommendation would be make a motion today with what you guys want to do, and then we'll draw it up, adopt it in the handbook, and away we go.
I think without the definition of the sick, I think we're opening them up ourselves to everything, though. Do you
But
see
it's-
what I'm saying?
But it's
I
up to
don't-
the employee to donate it if they want to or not.
Which
It's
is
their
just another
time. I mean-
tracking mechanism, okay.
But like you said, tracking is going to be, how many times does this happen? You
well,
answered this before.
Since I've been here,
Yeah,
and since this has been implemented twice, but here comes the complaints because of the guideline. And I think it was originally set up that way because it was more restrictive. It started in 1996.
yeah. That was before me.
So,
Not much, but a little bit before me.
right.
And back then it worked. I mean, people understood the definition of catastrophic.
Right.
You know, it wasn't an earache.
Right. Times have changed.
Oh, I know. Let us work on this, and get some kind of a definition.
So one says drop, one says define. Am I understanding correctly?
I think we need to drop the definition.
Drop
And if-
it.
And if people want to donate, fine. If not, that's fine. And how the employee goes about accessing that, that's another problem. Does he go around and ask everybody for a donation of time or?
Not that
she?
person, no. I have forms, so it'd be
Okay,
the department head, the employee should go to the department head, fill out a form requesting donated hours
From the department first,
from the department
Basically,
head first.
yeah.
And then,
Okay.
now that they don't have to go through the catastrophic, if we drop that, I'll have to change the forms a little bit, but if the department head approves them asking for a donation, I believe it was at 80 hours, which is 2 weeks, time off in addition
So-
to whatever leave they already had.
would it be better to have the benefits committee reconvene, get together, and kind of hash this back out again before it comes to us to make a decision? Because I'm just worried that we might
we gave him something to do, so.
not make the best decision right now.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
One more time.
So the
But I
pull
think-
hours, the 3.2 hours are gone.
Gone.
That's done.
Just gone.
Yeah,
So this is just
A rehash.
basically a rehash of this, and along with the delineation of catastrophic or not.
And
then
not
bring
have
us
to come back in front of the board,
Their recommendations.
whatever they come up with.
Well, if it's gonna get added to the handbook, it has to, correct?
Oh, if it's gonna be added to the handbook, which before it wasn't.
Because if this is
And-
not in the handbook, this is just a voluntary,
And that's what it was before.
we're just giving it out.
So, Ian, before you never said anything about putting it in the handbook until today.
It's not.
So,
We don't need it in the handbook, but if employees are gonna be able to see it, then they should be able to open up the handbook and see it.
right,
I mean, but we don't need it in the handbook. I mean,
Right.
it's just a nice thing for an employee to be able to open up the handbook and see it.
right. And it might be, cause less issues.
I don't
So
have
then
any
it'll be
issues
back to the
putting it in
benefit
the
committee, then back to the board.
let's just deal with this.
Okay, then.
I would so move we remove the catastrophic illness or accident portion of the handbook, and that we do away with the, like I said, the catastrophic illness and accident portion of the handbook.
And it's not the handbook, it's the accrued sick leave donation program. We're gonna
Then the
do away
accrued-
with the.
Right, the accrued sick leave donation program. And it will be on a per
Case by case.
case basis, on a donation basis. There's no requirements here of anybody. And we can clean that up.
Okay,
Second.
thank you.
All right, let me see if I can get this. Huh?
Yeah, try this out, man.
I hope you're writing, Kim. Okay,
And I'm not gonna say, see what I mean.
so it's been moved and seconded to remove the catastrophic definition from the accrued sick leave donation, and it is then voluntary on a case-by-case basis per department for donation. Voluntary donation.
Okay.
Did I? You guys making this hard
All right.
on me?
Good enough. Close enough.
So I'll rehash this and get it over to
Okay.
Ian, so we can add it to the handbook.
Any further discussion? Oh, and that it be added to the handbook.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And added.
Kicking that can down the road.
Okay, I think I got them all. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next, we have our grants coordinator report, Mr. Dobry.
It's not important, she never showed up. Might be catastrophic. Taking a timeout.
All right.
I think you can go ahead.
Yeah.
We don't have to
Yeah, go ahead.
wait for.
Good morning again. So I have a few updates. Since I last gave an update, I submitted the Land Water Conservation Fund non-motorized trail grant for $250,000 to support paths to Mesa Verde, as well as the Reconnecting Communities grant, which was $418,500, which was for master planning and engineering for Road G. Both of those grants you had approved, I think about 3 weeks ago. I'm currently editing a community wildfire defense grant that will address some of the priorities that are in our community wildfire protection plan. And then I'm also, I submitted the Proposition 123 information to the state. I'm waiting to hear back on approval or if we need to make any adjustment to that. I'm also in the early stages of planning for a solar grant to offset electricity expenses at the courthouse and sheriff's office. So that's going to be a kind of a big project, similar to the fairgrounds project, to kind of capture some savings there for the county on the electrical. The last thing that I had, and I mentioned it probably the last time I presented, but there is a state of Colorado grant that pays for toxicology funds related to suspected opioid or other drug abuse deaths. That grant opened up yesterday. It's a rolling submission, but if possible, I have the grant application form. If possible, I would like to get it approved today so I can get it submitted so that if we have any expenses, I'm not sure. Their federal grant started September 1st, but I'm not sure if they're reimbursing funds before you're in the program, so that's why I would like to possibly get it approved as soon as possible. That is the CDPHE, that's Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. It's called the Overdose Data in Action Grant, and it would be for up to $45,000 of toxicology expenses, and I think last year we had about $20,000 or so of toxicology expenses, or until that federal grant is exhausted. I got a signed copy of that form from Coroner George Devers, and I'll bring that up to the county clerk.
I move to approve this Montezuma County grant application for George Stevens, the coroner, the UEE grant to be submitted under CP3 JC 6K 322 G3 in up to $45,000 was requested for toxicology expenses.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the grant application submission form to CDPHE for toxicology expenses up to $45,000. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I think that's all that I have, unless you have any other questions.
I don't have anything else.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, Rob, thanks. Ian?
Spent last week working on witness and exhibit lists and preparing for our Board of Assessment Appeals hearing on a residential assessment that was done. That'll be in front of the Board of Assessment Appeals on November 13th. And so we got our witness and exhibit lists in and received witness and exhibit lists from the property owner. So I'm working with Leslie on preparing for that, and I'll continue to do so up until that hearing date on November 13th. Also received a call about County Road 20.5 and the nature of the easement on 20.5. I'm starting to dig into research on that. Doug Roth with GIS has gotten me some documents, and so I am looking at that and looking at the nature of that easement. Certainly, my understanding is that road has showed up on county road maps since the 30s, and so as a general matter, when things show up on county road maps, we generally claim a 60-foot easement for the road and for maintenance purposes. That's not necessarily always going to be set in stone. I mean, obviously, certain road petitions create different things, but as a general matter, that probably would default to a 60-foot easement based on the fact that it's been on the road map. So I'll continue to look at that, try to figure out exactly what we have there, and then answer the landowner's questions. I know there was some question about ditching and fencing there and where that right-of-way extends to. So I'll continue to move forward and look on that, hopefully have you guys a firm answer by next week and be able to communicate that to the landowner. But based on my initial impression of the documents that I've looked at, I think that we probably do have a 60-foot right-of-way there. And so, to the extent that a fence is 30 feet from that center line, within that 30-foot margin, it is in the right-of-way, and if something happens to it, that's not the county's problem necessarily. And that doesn't mean that we can't work with the landowner to try to figure out what needs to be done, but that's kind of where my initial assessment is. Again, I need to look at some more documents, but it certainly looks on its face like that is a 60-foot right-of-way along Road 20.5. That's really all I have to report for this week.
Okay. All right, very good. Travis?
Not much to report. Ian kind of come in on the back end of the 20.5 road aspect that I was working on last Friday and yesterday, and so it sounds like we're on the same page. So that's all I have to report.
Very good. And I was the one that got that phone call. All I did was transfer it to Travis and let him take it from there, because I couldn't tell you what it was or what it wasn't. So when I got the phone call, I sent it to Travis. All right. Commissioner Culpepper.
Yeah, I got that same phone call too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we had had issues with that same road a long time ago as far as whether it was a county road or not, and that's been on the road map forever, ever since Ismay's donated that right of way through to that area, so it's been there forever.
To the Yucca House, right?
Yes.
That's what they call it now.
That's
For
what
the
they call
park,
it.
park service.
Yeah, they actually donated it to the national park. So, last week on Wednesday afternoon and Thursday morning, we had our Southwest Water Conservation Board meetings. We were working on the budget, different Colorado River issues, just different issues as far as water in the whole southwest part of the state here. Had some real good discussions with our new commissioner of the Colorado River. She was there and presented where they're at with working on these some of the discussion that's going on as far as the new guidelines that's gonna operate Lake Powell and Lake Mead, and when these guidelines that are present now expire in 26, they're negotiating the new guidelines. Hopefully, she seems like she's willing to be up to the task to, if we can't get some better agreements out of these things, to walk away. I specifically asked her if she would do that, and she said she would. She had every intention, if they do not fix some of these problems with the operation of those reservoirs, that she's willing to do that. So there was some good conversations about that. Then on Thursday afternoon, we had our Colorado River Task Force meeting in Ignacio. Had some good conversations there about different possibilities of programs as far as interstate compliance with our Colorado River Compact. So they are going to start another program, what they call the SPP program, which is basically a program to allow people a way to change their crops or not to use their water, and they would pay them for not using it. I voiced my opinion that I didn't think that was a good idea, but it's gonna go ahead for this next year, because the state's already done it, but I think any of those programs we get into, and we're not using all of our water now, the state of Colorado and the upper basin states, period, are not using all their water, the percentage that we're supposed to be using. And I think anything we do that decreases the amount we're using is gonna put us in jeopardy and later on. Because you end up in federal court, and I voiced that opinion there that if you're not using all of it, and you haven't been using all of it, what are they gonna tell you? You don't need it. You don't need as much, and California's been using way over what they need, and so I think that'll actually work against us, and that's just my opinion. But I voiced my opposition to them doing programs that decrease our water use up here when we're not even using our allocated amount.
Any word on that?
I'm not sure it did any good, but I told them that anyway, so.
Any update on the NCA?
You know, we're having another meeting here, it's supposed to Thursday at, I think it's at noon.
Okay.
It's been held up. Did I tell you that last week? About an energy company bought part of the energy leases.
Well, you did say that.
Yeah, and anyway, that's what's holding it up right now, because they're trying to work out something with that energy company out of Canada on those energy leases that they bought, whether they would have access or what they would have to those leases that are there. So I think that's the big thing that's holding it up right now. So, but we are supposed to have a conference call this Thursday at noon, I think it is. So, see what happens, see where it's at.
Okay. Very good.
That's all I did attend the Mancus town meeting too, Wednesday night too, so that's all I did for 2 days, is to go to meetings.
I had to drive for 2 days to get to meetings.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lindsay.
I did go to city council last Tuesday, and their work session, emergency planner Spratlin was there and gave an update to them about using the new emergency alert system. And their planner talked about opting in Proposition 123. And they also talked about a water rate increase for the city of Cortez. And then in their regular meeting, they did renew some retail marijuana center licenses and also a liquor license. And then they had a presentation from the substance abuse people for the month of October to be Substance Abuse Prevention Month. And they did pass a resolution approving an application for a minor subdivision, awarded a bid for a water heater at the rec center, and bought some brand new spanking AV equipment for the council room up there, which I think will be a good addition. And that was about all that city council had. And I did go to the fly-in down at the airport, and it was very well attended. A lot of good stuff going on down there. And those guys are so good, they even threw in a solar eclipse.
I saw that.
Yeah, quite impressive. Those guys really know how to put on a show. Up and down the road, County Road G, a lot of people lined up. Everywhere I went, it looked like we were throwing a 3D movie convention, because here's all these little glasses, you know.
Yeah.
And that's about all I have to report.
It was, I was driving Saturday to get to Keystone for my fire commission meeting, and we stopped several times before we got to Rico, and like you said, there were people on every pullout.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing. Everybody would stop and look, so it was pretty impressive. It was a nice eclipse, so I hope you all got to see it. I had a transportation meeting, TPR meeting, went over the stack updates. Some of the biggest issues that we're dealing with right now is the Transportation Commission. We kept our commissioner, Mr. Garcia, but there are 6 new Transportation Commission members that were appointed. So it's going to take a while for those guys and gals to get up to speed, so that we can continue to take care of business. There was a resolution extending the town of Bayfield for their improvements, and they're going to extend it through 2023. This is our extension. Then obviously, like I just said, I drove to Keystone for a fire commission meeting. It was a pretty interesting meeting. The first part of the session was had nothing to do but for insurance and how is the insurance world affecting us here as far as wildfire. But what I thought was interesting, in Colorado, one of the reasons why the insurance companies are pulling out and not insuring people here, because they talk about availability and affordability. Well, the other big issue, I guess, is hail. Because of hail in the Front Range, obviously the biggest population, and they're replacing tons of roofs after the big hailstorms that they're having there. I never even considered that, but
No.
hail and wildfire, believe it or not. So it was a pretty interesting conversation of what do we need to do and what can we be doing. And then it went back to some of the legislation that we talked about last year because of the hardening of homes for wildfires, specifically starting with the roofs to the exteriors. You know, if your roof was replaced and you had an asphalt shingle roof on it, you know, what's the cost difference to upgrade it to something to harden it against hail and or wildfire?
Well, what would you harden against hail? I mean.
Well, you can harden it with metal, you can harden it with
dent.
tile, concrete. I mean, which is part of the argument with hardening creates increased cost.
Right.
Which
Increased premium.
increased cost, I mean, also to, you know, affordability for the homeowner.
Right.
Is they may not have that money to move those forward. So it's a big discussion. But it was a pretty interesting, done by a couple of the insurance agencies that report to the Fire Commission. Their budget is relatively flat. I asked the question, what does that actually mean, relatively flat? Because is that 0 or is it 1%, 2%? But basically all the additional stuff that they asked for, and they're not finished with the budget, but it doesn't look like they're going to receive anything else for this year. There was a huge discussion on Proposition HH and whether the Fire Commission should jump into that or not. It was decided that this is not really a political legislative group. They just send recommendations for fire. So there was no stance taken on that at all, but there was a lot of discussion. Mitigation is still the key factor on all of the low-hanging fruit, which again is the roofs if they're needing to be replaced. And you know, what is the right answer? Is it mitigation? Is it suppression? So then it went back to the insurance companies. Well, what do you do if you have an ISO rating of 10? Your insurance rates are still as high as they're ever going to be and will possibly ever be. We're fortunate right here. Most of us live in the Cortez Fire Protection District, which I believe still has an ISO rating of 4. So our insurance premiums, the last I knew, that's what it was, are still better than those, obviously, that have an ISO rating of 10. But a lot of that has to do with the water system. And as you get into the rural part of the county, there are some deficiencies in the water system. And then I drove home late last night and got home late last night. And that's all that I have to report. With that, gentlemen, we have come to the end of our meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this October 17th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.